In my book, Be the Change, Your Guide to Elemental Growth, I share how I use the moon cycles in my everyday life to enhance my self-care, hormonal balance, business success, cleansing, and manifestation rituals. Also, how I learned to forage and preserve seasonal foods in traditional ways, and how that allowed me to get back in shape, conceive my happy, healthy 3-year-old son, breastfeed him successfully for almost 3 years, and finally step into my potential. In this series, however, we're going to get a bit deeper and different. Yes, I have biohacked many of my addictions, habits, and so on with the Elemental Growth Protocol. I did have a healthy, happy, plant-based pregnancy, home birth, and breastfeeding experience. And I have been collecting certifications like they're Pokemon for the last 5 years. But there was one tool that helped me get a lot deeper and expand every part of my being, which I will share with you soon, so stick around. Before we dive in here, I want to add that I'm a positive influence in my community. I volunteer my time and sponsor a charity so dear to my heart, which I will link below. I am certified in spiritual and healthcare practices. Also, I'm a single mom. Here's the kicker. Without the help from indigenous medicines and teachings, my life today may look much different. It's possible that I could be using needles, a carrier of a sexually transmitted disease, or passing on my family karma to my son, a legacy of addiction, criminal activity, and abuse. This could have all been possible, and there are many people who wouldn't even recognize me today. These ideas I'm about to share with you are far out for the average person. This is a series written specifically for the people with an open mind, self-awareness, and believe that they can heal themselves, body, mind, and spirit. You can read the many ways I prove that anyone can change, as well as my favorite tips, tools, and resources in my book or blog at elementalgrowth.org. To keep things relevant today, however, I'm going to come out of the closet and say, I am Ashley Michaud, and I use psychedelics as a tool to optimize my body, mind, and spirit. To help you understand how I practice with this medicine and magic, I'll share with you my most recent sacred journey using psilocybin mushrooms. It's the last full moon of spring, which represents a time of cleansing and letting go. I've been preparing for a week to clear space physically and mentally so that my ceremony can be enjoyable and really lift me up. The house is empty and so quiet, so I play some meditative sounds. My French press is filled with warm mint and nettle tea, and I carry in my hand a dose of psilocybin mushrooms. I sit down in front of my mirror on my meditation cushion and take my dose with the intention of spring cleaning my body, mind, and soul. I light a candle and burn some other sacred medicines. Sage for cleansing, cedar for protection, sweetgrass for calming any anxiety that may come up, and tobacco to connect with the higher spirits. I stand up and begin my Kundalini yoga practice. As the mushrooms integrate into my system, within about half an hour, I start to feel what many may consider a bad trip, because thoughts and ideas were just coming up for me so fast. I turned to my bong and container of dried marijuana to help me breathe and listen to the messages that the mushrooms were trying to tell me. As I exhaled my hippie herb, I found myself graciously open up my notebook and start to write out everything that came to mind. I wrote, when I was a little girl, many years before puberty, I was touched and penetrated by someone close to my family. This one incident created a glitch in my programming, a glitch for this pattern to repeat itself for the first quarter of my life. I am a victim of childhood sexual and emotional abuse. I am supporting myself today by telling the truth, and I am repairing this glitch. After reading what I wrote, I walked back to my mirror and got back to my yoga practice. I moved and I moved and I moved, and I encouraged my body to release this old energy and let my inner child's voice be heard. As things continue to come up in my energy body, fear, shame, guilt, sadness, anger, I would use my breath to accept it for what it is, a feeling, and then visualize it leaving me. Until it came to my attention of how oppressed I really have been for so long. I was struggling in my life because I wouldn't accept the truth. I wouldn't admit what happened to me or what I was doing to myself. I had irregular periods my whole life. I experienced the pain and embarrassment of HS and PCOS. My body was fighting itself to become masculine and ugly because I had convinced myself as a little girl that if I wasn't so beautiful, I wouldn't stand out to a predator. One experience, one secret, one glitch caused me to fall into a pattern of dating cheaters, narcissists, inviting abusers and alcoholics into my world, being molested and raped other times in my life, and of course the common symptoms of addiction, consumerism, and falling into the role of victimhood. This is how I'm healing myself today. My chakras have been imbalanced for a long time. My roots have been getting better, but I'm still struggling with PCOS and ovarian disease connected with the sacral chakra. I also experienced a tightening in my chest because my heart was so open to love, but about to explode because the energy could not make it through my throat. I was literally having my breath taken away because I was cut off at the throat. I'm telling you this because all disease starts with energy. It didn't matter that I got certified as a master in Reiki, nutrition, or hormone health. What matters is that I challenged myself to do the work, liberated myself to find answers, and believed that I could heal myself. Mushrooms were one tool which allowed me to see the big picture. It created connections and provided me the safety to explore my secrets and comfort my inner child as a mother. As I looked in the mirror and saw my inner child crying, I held her in her vulnerability, which is why I can with courage and certainty tell you today that you are never alone. You are your past, your present, your future, and you are with yourself always. Our inner child is the key to all the answers and is our guide to healing, growth, and moving into the greater good. My job as a health coach is simply to connect people to their strength as well as honor and foster their growth, which means I have to do that work in my life too. I put the time in every day and do my work to the best of my ability, but without telling the truth of these additional tools which have elementally guided me into my truth and freed my energy so that I could heal my emotional body, which caused all of my addictive behaviors and hormonal ailments, I would be keeping another secret, which is not who I am anymore. The purpose of life is to play and have fun. Working a 9 to 5, then watching TV, surfing social media, or shopping on Amazon until midnight is a joke. Using sugar, carbs, opiates, alcohol, and cigarettes is giving away your consciousness, time, power, and money. However, the reward and fulfillment you receive by doing the actual work it takes to optimize your life brings infinite opportunity. Doing this inner work and seeing your patterns from childhood, conditioned beliefs, and values for what they are may cause miracles. That child inside you still wants to play, but most of us are continuing to push that child down and down and down and down. We need to bring that child up right. We need to give them what they are starving for, and that moment when you figure it out, that moment when you are no longer normalizing abuse, but deal with it compassionately, you will be freed. Sacred journeys, like I take in my life, are not for everyone. Neither is pot, big pharma, sugar, wheat, dairy, So trust yourself, trust your voice, and explore the therapies that resonate with you specifically. For me personally, plants present themselves to me, and I have a good relationship with plants. So this makes my way of doing the inner and outer work fun and enjoyable for me, even when it's challenging. If you're new to following me, here's a recap of my journey so far. In 2013, I added yoga into my life. That was 7 years ago when I was still drinking, using cocaine, working in the hospitality industry, and engaging in unhealthy sexual activities. In 2014, I quit drinking and started eating whole and healthy foods. In 2015, I renewed my childhood passion for nature and backpacked through Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. In 2016, I gave birth to my son at home naturally and was attuned as a Reiki master. In 2017, I started school at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and branded my business, Elemental Growth. In 2018, I started running global group coaching events and wrote my book, Be the Change, Your Guide to Elemental Growth Through Nature, Love, Food, and Movement. Today, in 2019, I am 30 years old. I am now a published author and alumni of what I believe should be a mandatory education institute called IIN. I am also 6 years into my sobriety. Because of my persistence, nutrition, self-education, and psychedelics, I am free from my habits like nail biting, alcohol, cocaine, ecstasy, stealing, food-like products, masturbating, porn, and more. Mushrooms are the true tellers and communicators of the forest. They come in many colors, but most often described as brown and blue. I believe that's why I was drawn to that energy most. I had a glitch causing me to repeat patterns locked in my sacral and throat chakras. The mushrooms helped me repair these broken connections and move fully into my role as a 30-year-old mother on a mission to inspire and empower you to heal yourself through nature, love, food, and movement. Before we end this introduction today, I want to add that you're watching this today through your computer. We're all communicating through the internet, developed and perfected by the men and women taking psychedelics, like Steve Jobs, who invented Apple through the use of LSD. There's also psilocybin, ayahuasca, and so many more that are out there and being used today in different doses by people perfecting the way that we do things today. It's time to wake up from your zombie existence and step into your own true potential. This is our world now. So open your mind and imagination. It's all happening. As a health coach, I don't fix my clients, they do that. My job is simply to ask the questions that will spark transformation. So here's one for you. What challenges or patterns are you struggling to overcome? And do you think this secret therapy will be of service to you becoming the hero of your own story? I'll leave the comments open to possibility. So let's see what happens.